Welcome to the first of 2024 live stream training event. I'm Will Schofield, Ross Glendinning alongside me, first ever captain of the Club Brownlow medalist. Ross, excited?
Very much so, Scully. I mean, this is the time of the year when you start to see some real growth in what the pre-season package has been, pre-Christmas, and what they're bringing is leading into the practice matches, which, as you well know, shows everyone where the progress has been and how we sit going into the season proper.
Yeah, I haven't had a look at the boys so far this year, so I'm excited. Been hearing some ups and downs from some players inside the track, obviously, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going. This is the captain's run, so not a training run so far. As we have a look down, this is live out on Mineral Resources Park. Of course, it wouldn't be a West Coast Eagles anything if we didn't speak about Harley Reid. He's done some light run-throughs today with Jack Darling. He's in a bit of a management program this week, as is pretty normal with young players across the side. This has been in place since I was a young player. They're deloading him this week with an option to ramping up over the next couple of weeks and get him really ready for round one in the pre-season as well.
Well, it's very easy to get sidetracked, and with a fellow like Harley or others of his ilk, they're rare, but you don't want to overload them and you want them to be able to play first up. And he's a bit of a bull the way he does play. He's taken on everything in front of him, and the public expectation is just massive, Scully. So I don't think it's affected him. I hope it hasn't, but he's certainly got the goods.
Spoke to Dom Pike last night on radio and asked him specifically how he thought he was going. It seems like Harley's sort of taking in his stride a little bit. He's number one draft pick for a reason. You've seen some of those clips. He's clearly got a mature body. One thing that I sort of wanted to see, and we still won't know, is how's he stand up against men? Because he's 18 years old. He hasn't been in a system like this before. So there's a lot of changes he's going through right at the moment.
Exactly, but he's already shown, and he'll get surprised when he might come up against a Petrarca if he does, or that ilk of player who's size-wise, Paddy Cripps, bigger, stronger, play a different way. But that's his learning curve, isn't it? He's already demonstrated in the congestion in some of the match sim already that he likes the contact. He's strong through his hips, holds his ground, and gets away. His first couple of paces are quick enough to get away.
Now, I'm excited about this, Ross Glendinning. We have someone down on the boundary, bit of roaming reporting happening down there.
Exciting.
Jason the Milkman Gilby is live down at the Oval, Mineral Resources Park. He's with the new CEO, Dom Pike. Jason, can you hear us? What's going on down there, mate?
Thanks, boys. I'm just down here, ripping day down to be trackside at the moment. I've got Dom Pike straight off the bat. How are you, Pikey?
Good morning, Jace. All good. Looking forward to a lovely day. Boys have just arrived out here and get into a nice session.
Absolutely. And settling into the new role as CEO, how's it been? Have you had much time to get down track, watch the boys?
I've seen a bit of the players. I've sort of seen a bit of training. I've been spending a bit of time with the rest of the exec team and around the club and getting a feel for the place, which has been great. Loving it. Loving it.
Absolutely. And obviously this time of year, we're going to have a few boys that go down, but still great availability at the moment. And how do you think the boys are looking?
Yeah, they look going really well. As we're trying to get better, and to get better, you've got to push the envelope a bit. We've been doing that a little bit, and we're also mindful of players' loads and monitoring that. So you'll see Harley's not doing anything today. He's just having a bit of a deload period, which is great. It's going to be a long season for him, and everyone else is sort of tracking along well. So fingers crossed we get majority of the squad fit, available, but importantly ready to perform, not just ready to play, and that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen a few flicks from the weekend. The Stevie Simpson the cup was on. You were down there. Did you have a pooch that entered?
No, I don't have a dog, so I just went down to follow the event. It's an interesting race. It probably needs to be handicapped because I reckon you've got the bigger dogs have got a serious advantage over some of the little ones, which anyway, maybe we'll build a second race in it. It could be a whole program in the years to come.
Absolutely. It looked like Simo had dogs to hire there for that race, but
I'm not sure what's going on there. He's sort of like he's probably the reverse of a cat lady. He's a dog man.
Absolutely. And then, so is there, and you've said you've watched a little bit of the boys at the moment. Is there anyone at the moment that's sort of taken your eye, ready to watch for 2024?
I haven't really watched it in that much detail, to be honest. I've just been sort of looking at it from afar and just going how we're actually playing, how we're training, and the intensity really, and that's been the impressive part. I reckon the intensity's really stepped up, and the guys are working really hard in prep for the season. So, look, we've got a nice blend and balance of some really talented young guys, and then we've got some senior guys who we know are really good seasoned AFL players, and if we can get those two married together, then our best 22 on the track is going to be pretty solid.
Absolutely, and the first live stream today, the tech's come a long way since the 80s, but hasn't it?
10 live stream. It's come out of the black and white, hasn't it? Now we're live with our members. Great to have our members on board, and they'll get an opportunity to see what we do pretty much every day, and it's a great insight into the club, and it's a great initiative from our comms department to do it. So hopefully everyone gets something out of it, enjoys it, and it brings them closer to what we're doing down here and what we're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. Anyway, great day down here. Back up to you, boys.
Tell you what, Jason Gilby down there is absolutely working wonders.
He's got a future.
I haven't seen his work so far, but if that's anything to go by...
You haven't been training him, have you?
Hey?
You haven't been training him?
No.
Oh.
No. But I mean,
there's a prospect for you.
If you're wondering why his nickname is the Milkman, last year, big story coming out of GWS, which was where he was listed last year, was he only drinks milk, doesn't drink water. He's replaced his water intake with milk. Not sure how much mayo is
How's
on
his
that
gluten tolerance?
Milk may have been added to that story, but that was exceptional work down there with CEO Dom Pike. We're watching the players in the first live stream of 2024 warm up. Number 31, Jermaine Jones there. Good to see him back running around.
Yeah.
Tim Kelly inside as well, who both have had a little bit of injury concerns, but looks to be running around pretty nicely out there.
Tim Kelly had that little bit of a hamstring awareness, if you like, Scully, but he came back to training and he's been outstanding. There's a few of the boys there, Scully, just wearing a longer sleeve under their jumper. That's a bit of sun protection.
Well, okay, that's excellent because we want to look after the sun. Not surprised to see Ruben Jimby in it with the the light.
Well, we do know that young Ryan Marriott got a little bit of sunburn over at Rottnest, so he learned a very harsh lesson to not wearing a shirt or sun protection.
I saw Jake Waterman warming up on the sideline with one on.
Tim Kelly wears the same.
Okay, look, it's something I haven't seen before, but liking it as well. This is a bit of the warm-up process before a captain's run. Captain's run, Roscoe.
Yep.
It's you were the captain of this football club. Did you have much to do with setting the precedent in the captain's run?
Well, a captain's run was it wasn't available in the.
What was it
in
back
the late?
in
well,
the
there
60s?
wasn't. Well, in the first 2 years of 87, 88, when we'd fly to Melbourne or here, we'd fly to Melbourne late on a Friday, get into Royal Parade Hotel opposite Icon Park or Princess Park.
Right.
So at about 9:30, 10, we'd go across the road in the darkness and do some light strides, etc., around the park there. Now, some blokes would just hide behind a tree and the phys ed guy, Peter Jolly, would not know where we were. Then we'd walk back. 22 would go over and sometimes 18 would come back. So did they all go over? So it was just to stretch the legs. It's changed enormously.
Well, so now this is the session we do before a main session. So the main session will be tomorrow. Right now in pre-season, this is where you start getting into game mode. Pre-Christmas and a little bit of, straight at the early part of January, you're still in training mode. You train Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and don't worry about the weekends. This year now is trying to get into game prep mode because we're not far from the start of the season, and they will be treating this like a game preparation. They'll likely warm up in two teams. They might warm up together and split off into those two teams, but tomorrow they'll play close to full match minutes in match simulation, 80 minutes last week. Usually the progression is somewhere sort of 80, 90, 100 minutes next week.
Because you've got to get the match fit. There's some clubs are a little bit gun shy about playing all their gun players in these match sims, but you have to play them, Scotty, don't you? If you don't train as you want to play, then you're going to strike some problems.
Campbell Chesser walking some laps with Matty Knights here. So Chesser's been pretty consistent this pre-season, but working through a bit of an injury at the moment. Is that a quaddie? I don't want to speak out of turn here, but he's got his quad strapped up there.
Just a precaution there because he's a fellow who's endured a bit of an injury in his time first up previous year. Here we go.
Who's doing the talking here? Here we go. Look out. This is back to the 90s type areas, giving you a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Gub's not doing everything. Should Gub be wearing long sleeves just to protect his body?
And long legs.
And long legs. In there, well, Oscar might be in there. You can see his face facing us.
Someone's leading in there. I think it could be Dewar. I think it could be Tyler Dewar, as he is the training leader today. As I've got the
there you go.
Right
Good spotting.
That was quite good.
Well done. Well, it's nothing new. Just a bit of intensity.
Have you been down there telling them what to do for training? Have you potentially? That's the straight out of the 90s warm-up playbook.
I have trouble taking instruction from the people I work with here, let alone giving instructions, Scully. So I'm a listener. But the other thing which is really important with the club at the moment and in the group, Scully, is there's an excitement, there's an effervescence about the group.
Brady Hoff there, number 19, just standing out the front demonstrating the drill. He'll team up here with Elliot Yeo and Jeremy McGovern, hearing some really good things about Hoffy. He looks like he's developed physically a lot this pre-season.
Yeah, well, as both of us former backmen, he's the fellow that can come off half-back that hasn't really been spoken about in the pre-season discussions about midfielders going to half-back, Jimby, etc., Reid possibly. But Brady Hoff is a outstanding prospect to remain a half-back and can play that role as comfortably if Liam Duggan goes through the middle.
Yes.
So Hoffy is one of the ones that is going to sneak up on us because he can play, his body's nice and strong, skill set's very high, and he just attacks the footy.
The first couple of games he played in his first year, I can sometimes be too quick a judge of character, but playing style, I definitely make my mind up very quickly. And he looked like he could play. Just saw
good.
some actions
Yeah.
in an AFL game. Big thumbs up there.
Well done, because the same, and Rhett Bazzo, just number 33,
Yes.
he's had a really good pre-season. Tough year last year. I hope he progresses as we are expecting him to.
Yes. I think he's the sort of guy that can step into that. McGovern,
Well
Barras,
Yep.
Harry Edwards is upcoming. I've heard some good things about Harry Edwards this pre-season as well. He's been not heir apparent, but he has been that young defender developing, and Rhett Bazzo joins him in trying to take a bit of pressure off the Tom Barrasses and Jeremy McGoverns of our world.
Because sometimes Harry's been thrown into the ruck. He's had to do some different roles, which hasn't always suited him, and then he found it difficult to find his groove in the waffle.
Yes.
So here's his opportunity.
Adam Simpson here talking to new assistant coach Luke Shuey.
Yes?
Heavily zinced up, covered. He is one man that needs that sun protection more than most.
And just on the right, the fellow with his arms out is Matt Innes, our new head
see.
conditioning.
I see.
Man, so what he's done, Scully, so far has been impressive.
Right.
And his integration into that role.
From the Western Bulldogs?
From the Western Bulldogs. And can I say early, his comment, and I'm happy to say this, to me in passing a couple of weeks ago, just chatting about how he settled in, he said, well, I can tell you, Ross, that in the early doors, we are quicker than what the Bulldogs were when he was training them last year.
Right.
So that's a good start, that his assessment, in general, we are quicker than the Bulldogs. So they are a reasonably quick side.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what sort of game style comes out of West Coast this year. Look, from the people I've interviewed across radio and the media at the start of this year, I'm hearing the contest a lot,
Yes.
an improvement there. They felt like that was the biggest area that this club needed to improve upon. And given that, Matty Innes would have had a fair bit to do with that. You're seeing a lot more contact at training than perhaps previous years. And again, speaking to Dom Pike yesterday, the club seems to be unapologetic about it, and there's going to be some injuries. We saw Campbell Chesser running.
Yes.
There is going to be some injuries. Clearly the club's been troubled by injuries over the last couple of years, but hopefully with some backing this year, in-season injuries happen less.
And the amount of running we've done with ball work, then more running, 200s, 400s, that type of thing, integrated into the pre-season has been very different, and it's elevated the fitness level. But it's where it should be. To matter now, is it equal to what the other clubs' standards are?
Yes, and that's going to be difficult to tell. I spoke to Brett Roseberry, who is the games record holder as an umpire, who was down here on Friday training, and I asked, he trains with a lot of clubs in Melbourne, and he came over here, bit of umpire recruiting, and he thought while he was here he'd come down and help out at training West Coast. I think he did Fremantle as well. And I asked him, could he tell who was going well? Like,
As in a team or individuals?
A bit of both,
Bit of both?
but more from a team sense. You know, could he tell last year that Collingwood were firing? And he said, no, not really, but he can tell who's not going well. So when he does training, he can see who's off the pace a little bit. And I won't say what clubs. I think that's probably a little bit
That's
inside
unfair,
knowledge.
yeah.
But I asked what he thought of West Coast, and he said on pace. Didn't have them behind the pace. Thought they looked good. Difficult to tell from an umpire's point of view, but overall pretty positive feedback from someone who's seen a lot of other clubs training.
And sometimes those external observations go, if someone who's inside the game, just gives you a little bit of reassurance that you're doing the right thing. So, and the other...
What are they doing here, Roscoe?
Well, it's
A bit of a triangle trick.
yes, and the other thing I was going to say very quickly, while I've got that vision, Sco, those two outside lines of the triangle is where we're trying to bring the footy back inside, be more direct toward goal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if we see that this year. Noah Long on screen right now. He's had a terrific
Moving well.
first 18 months at the football club. Roscoe, can I tempt you with this? Join us next Saturday at Mineral Resources Park as we kick off the 2024 season with our annual West Coast Eagles Fan Day. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. till 12 p.m. Enjoy a range of family fun activities and meet your favourite West Coast Eagles player. Who's your favourite player? Your favourite?
Well, you've written on my notes here, Will Schofield.
Right.
You're saying current player or past player?
Well, I mean, you can take this
too
wherever
many,
you like.
too many to name, Scully.
All right, well,
that's a fence sitter, but that's just a fact.
Mine is Ruben Jimby. I'd like to meet the boy. If you're down there as well, wouldn't mind seeing Ross Glendinning. Entry is free with plenty of activities, including meet your favourite AFL and AFLW players. So make sure you get down here to Mineral Resources Park next Saturday. Hoping it's not going to be 40 degrees, Roscoe.
Just seeing, I just moved off screen there. The left, Bailey Williams is one I just wanted to speak about, and I know you've got some comments around him, but this time last year I really had some doubts about whether he could carry the ruck or being able to do what he did. Really impressive after probably the first 4 or 5 rounds of last season, and then carried it. He's going to be a key if he can improve further with Matt Flynn, I think, very capable as number one. And I know we've got something about Matt coming up.
Yeah.
But Bailey's opportunity to extend his career and his capabilities is right in front of him.
He was the number one player at West Coast. You could map his improvement, couldn't you? You saw him come in. He was forced to play a solo ruck role for a little while there that he hadn't done at AFL level, and he was exposed at maybe the first game or two.
Yep.
And he looked like he waited up. He learnt what he needed to improve on, and it was a steady graph of improvement, wasn't it? His year. I thought his output for West Coast was outstanding. Thought he was unlucky to not be a top 5 in the best and fairest, to be honest. I thought he was consistent throughout, competed. That's what, as a teammate, you want. You want your ruckman competing,
Exactly.
number one.
Yep.
And as fans, I think the frustration grows when there's a perception of non-competition, when you don't compete against your opponent. And I thought he was someone who really stood up last year. And looking forward to see, with a Matt Flynn coming into the side, how does his role transition? Because it looked like he really blossomed being around the ball and he was involved more. You would know you spent a bit of time in the back line and the forward line. It's difficult at stages to be a key position forward in this game.
Very much so, and particularly how we were playing last year, because delivery coming in, which is why, saying Oscar Allen's season was just outstanding with limited opportunities. Yep. But this is the key for Bailey this year, Scully, is that he has an opportunity to not necessarily be the number one ruckman, but have the number one ruckman workload, go forward. He can mark, he's got a good bit of elevation about him, and knowing if he goes down there, can sit behind Oscar. Oscar can play 40 to 50 metres out from goal. Bailey can sit behind him, and we know if we can't get to Oscar, go long down the back, and there's a Bailey Williams.
Athletically, Bailey Williams would be the most talented player in the side. I think he has every attribute to be an absolute star in this side. So add that competitive element that I thought he really added last year. He's going to be someone to reckon with this year in 2024. This is a bit of goal kicking going through here at the moment. One of my favourite parts of training, to be honest.
Jai Cully, just a left footer there, just having a crack.
Yeah, we like that. He's coming back off an ACL, of course, last year. A pretty quick recovery if we're going to look at it. He's out there training with the boys, not far off from being 100%, working really hard behind the scenes.
Oh, look, it's a tribute to him because it was a tough thing to happen to him at the MCG early last year. I was there actually. When I say fortunately, not fortunately to see him, he went down. I thought, you've got to be kidding, because he was showing something.
Yeah.
Great at the contested footy, Sco, strong, loves a tackle. I hope he gets his mobility back fully. Holding that water tube, that's part of a warm-up I'll get to later that Scoey did with young Elijah Hewitt as part of his recovery from his groin issues. And it's worked a treat.
Yeah, unreal.
But for young Jai, I hope he gets the opportunities because they're going to be there in front of him. He's ready to go again.
Well, having an inside midfielder like Jai Cully enables hopefully the likes of a Harley Reid and Noah Long, if he runs through there at all, a Ruben Jimby, these outside guys to go to work a little bit. Elliot Yeo can maybe play a little bit more outside if you've got inside bulls like a Jai Cully coming back into the side. So been tracking his recovery and all sounding pretty good and positive out of the club at the moment, Ross.
Good shot. You have Rhett Bazzo walking with Oscar Allen. So Rhett's a good size, stronger through the hips again and through the thighs. I mean, we talk about that a bit, but it's important. You need to be able to hold your ground.
Well, with those key position backs, you'd know this, Ross, that you spend a couple of years, you've got the talent, you can read the footy, you can mark a ball, but that strength, that real, we don't want to say it, but the real man strength, the real...
That's what it is.
I think about Darren Glass, and the first time I ever matched up on him as an 18-year-old, and it was like I was twig. He just threw me off to the side, and not saying I ever actually was able to compete with him, but he was a behemoth. But as you get older, that strength becomes more natural. It becomes a little bit less like a teenager and more like an adult. And I think we'll see Rhett really blossom into that over the next few years. But it takes a bit of time too. This isn't something you can be taught. It takes time in the gym, on the track, seeing different matchups one-on-one. And Harry Edwards, as we see him here as well, in the we call those the career savers, Roscoe. They're big moon boots he's wearing around for pre-season. Oh yes, usually they go on a older bloke who's probably Shannon Hearn type operator who's just trudging around a little bit. But
hello, Banger. Hope you're well. The thing too with young Bazzo, you're talking about a man's strength. It's not a criticism; it's just a fact. You've got to grow into your body, and there's some very strong men playing the game. And Glassy also had, if you refer to him, a really strong competitive nature. Which you need that to complement your size.
So that is to do with the contest for me, Roscoe. Jack Darling, when he is fit and firing and at his best, Jack Darling, one of the most competitive beasts you'll see on the football field, and when he's playing his best, he needs to be like that. And I think across the board, if you're talking about the contest, which is West Coast has come out quite a lot this year that they want to improve in the contest. I think sometimes you think, that's just a midfield, maybe it's a one-on-one battle for a ball. It is across the ground. It is forwards against backmen. It is backmen beating their opponent. It is midfielders one-on-one with theirs. It's the ruckman. It is across the board. And yes, it's a strength. Yes, it's training it. But if I think back to the most competitive sides I play with, it's a mentality, and it can be trained through, of course, what we're seeing today and onwards. But it's a real mentality that you need to take into games that you're not going to lose, and that's your position. That's a one-on-one. That's helping your teammates. That's the game in general. You need to be a winner, and that might sound a little bit brutal, but you need to get that into yourself. Harley Reid.
That's what he has.
I think so.
We see that. We'll need to see it properly, but I can't do that. Yeah. Can I just go back to Jack Darling just quickly?
Let's go back. Let's see the celebration. No, he wasn't happy with it. He missed that. Jack Darling, talk to me.
As he was walking off, just very precautionary with Jack, because we know he can play. Played well last week. What, he kicked 3 goals in 5 minutes?
So with the captain's run, sometimes an opportunity to do it in runners. So I noticed he was wearing runners, which means it was pre-planned that he'd come out of this. I was in runners for the good part of the last 5 years of my career, if that gives anyone any...
Yeah, are you in runners now? For a different reason. Have they actually hit the grass or a pavement anywhere?
I've been swimming a little bit, Ross.
There you go.
Swimming to Rottnest.
Mark Spitz. No, I go to Rotto occasionally. It's usually on a boat. No, I don't have a boat. So
you've been working
the best boat you can have, Scully, is someone else's.
That's great. I've learnt that lesson very early on. Tom Barras looking in good shape, hearing very good things out of his training session last week. Who have you got for
Petruccelli, just long sleeve, 21.
Petruccelli.
I reckon this season is a really important one for him. We've said this a couple of times. Just quickly go to Paul Turk, new strength conditioning coach, just walking in front there, coming from Collingwood, North Melbourne experiences beforehand. Jack Petruccelli, what's his position? Where are we going to use him, and what's the expectation?
I liked him when Jermaine Jones was out of the side last year. So Jermaine Jones is used as a half-back flanker predominantly, but they used him a little bit forward. But I like Jack Petruccelli behind the ball a little bit last year and coming through the midfield. I think in the forward line, he can have some great games and do some great things, but it's few and far between. And I think in the back line, what it does give you is opportunity to see the game and to use his pace. And again, hopefully not speaking out of school, you don't want too many guys of Jack and Jermaine's skill set, which is to attack.
Yep.
You need to have defenders down there. But having a couple of guys like that, it really enables teams to be able to attack from the back line. Yep. Get the turnover, go through the middle, take the game on, break the lines. That's what West Coast want to do. That's what the best sides do. Just think about Collingwood, right? They win a ball at the half back line and they're gone.
Yep.
Absolutely gone, and they're back there. Teammates hit targets, which is what the boys will be doing right now, and then they're going and they're running. So that's where the fitness element comes into it.
And conversely, if it turns over, they're able to get back quickly
Correct.
enough to cover.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why you need a good mix in your back line, especially. You need, some will say, the anchors, the guys that maybe aren't as quick. Ross, don't look at me like that. And then you need the mixture of guys that take the game on. So I played with Lewis Jetta. He was our guy that would take that game on. Shannon Hearn, a bit of both, right? Great kick, could defend really well. And when he had to do that, he did that. But he also could take the game on at the right opportunity. You just need a good mix behind the footy. And it's sounding like we're going to see some midfield rotations through there. I'll put my hand up and say I haven't seen that work very well. Nick Dacos, probably a good example of working well.
Yep.
I haven't played in too many sides where I've seen a back mid rotation go well, because I like to think it's hard in the back line and it's pretty hard in the midfield too. So interesting to see how
it's
that
a unique
rotation
player,
works.
isn't it?
Well,
It is a unique player.
I think if you're going to do that, if you're going to spend time in the midfield, you need to either come to the bench and then the back line, or vice versa. You'd want to be coming off the bench into the midfield. You need the rest coming on or off from that midfield role.
Because if you go and rest half back, which half forward are you picking up? Are you going to? Who is it? So, and who's going to be the backline general? I know Tommy B's there, Gov, but ostensibly Shannon Hearn was the voice of the backline.
Well, why don't we ask someone that will know the answer, because it's not you and I. Jason Gilby, the milkman, down on the boundary with senior coach Adam Simpson.
Down here, Simo, a bit lighter session today, before a bit more match sim tomorrow. How's it all going?
Going well. We're coming off a 42-degree day on Friday, and Monday was pretty intense. So today's a low-level captain's run feel, and then we'll hit the ground tomorrow night. 6:20 we start tomorrow night.
Yep, and a bit of a change up just from Friday, just a bit of weather, get the boys out of the heat.
We didn't want to get 3 consecutive 40-degree days, so. Yeah, just being aware of the boys and what they've done. They've done a power of work, so today won't even have a light day.
Yep, and as you said, power of work after Chrissy. How's this block been? And then I suppose leading into from now to before the first practice match against Adelaide.
It's tracking well. I think we've got probably 36 available at the moment, which is pretty standard. So we'd like to get a couple back. We lost JD there for a couple of weeks with his hamstring. We'll give Harley a rest tomorrow night. We just sort of prep for next week's intra-club. Yep. Knowing that tomorrow night will be pretty big as well.
Yep, and I was saying to Pikey before, I had the Stevie Simpson Cup on the weekend, seen a few flicks of that. You had 4 dogs in it, still no luck. What's the go there?
Well, I mean, the cup's named after Stevie, but he's probably a veteran now. He's 10 years in. And the Kelpie gets a bit frightened these days with big crowds. So, I've lost a couple of good runners there, and I've recruited 2 Chihuahuas, which not really great in that event, no.
No, all righto. Thanks for that, Simo, and boys, we'll throw it back up to you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much, Jason.
4 kids, 4 dogs, and 5 cars. I think Simo's got at home.
Seriously, how do you not win it with 4? Like
thought he was
4
busy
horses
enough.
in the Melbourne Cup. Seriously, and he says it with pride. It's named after Stevie, but you got to show something.
Does Stevie get another contract, or in discussion?
I hope so.
I'll speak to his manager.
Very serious, Simo there.
You did pick that up, yes.
So I spent a lot of time with Simo, both positive and negative
because
times.
he was
sometimes in his office.
In his office.
Sometimes in his office, I'm getting back in the side. So that was some fond memories. But I think I can read serious Simo and jovial Simo. So when you see serious Simo, which is what we just saw, it means I think a little bit not apprehensive, but he'd be looking forward to tomorrow, getting the players. It's game mode. He's in game mode. That's the sort of Simo you see before a game. So it's interesting to see that in Feb 7. So sometimes, and again, I'm not speaking out of school here. He sometimes just needs to just pull it back a little bit.
Good observation.
Just it's all right. Pull your jets, Simo. 7th of Feb. I'm sure he'll be very happy with this feedback from Will Schofield from the absolute bleachers.
But it's good observation, because you would be not anxious, but this is where you start to find out what has the last 3 months built for us.
Yep.
Have the players really grasped what we want to do?
Yeah, is the coach's message getting across?
Has the ability of a Schofield and a Knights as assistant coaches, Lukey Webster, and then Luke Shuey just assisting through the midfield, is it working?
Matty Flynn here on camera. He's a new recruit, new to the club this year, of course, coming from GWS. And Brockman, I like you. This could be your. He could be your favourite here.
Well, look, I just think there's an opportunity. He said, when it surprised me when I first met him at the club, taller than me. Now I'm not tall, but I was taller. And I say this a bit, I'm not quite 6'2". He's taller than me. Very upright.
Tyler Brockman you're talking about.
I'm Tyler Brockman, not Matt Flynn. Look at him.
He doesn't look that tall.
No, well, he's amongst blokes that are tall. People today are tall, you know that. But there's an assurity about him. He knows his game, and he knows there's an opportunity for him, particularly with Liam being injured early, Liam Ryan. So Tyler should be going, here's my chance. I know I can play. I've come home for a reason. And this side's looking good, as we see Gov just chatting there with Matty Innes. Hopes he's okay. He said, this is too hot for me, I got to get off, Matty.
That's correct. He's the oldest bloke at the football club this year. He's a bit...
in the footy department, at the players?
No, he's not. He's younger than you. Yes, that's right, Ross. No, he's the youngest. He's the oldest player, and he was a little shocked to find that out, I think, to start this pre-season. Tyler Brockman...
Like him
a lot, hearing a lot of good things, good mix of pace, athleticism with the jump, but
smart.
And highly skillful as well. So... You know, the recruitment becomes all the more important off the back of a Liam Ryan injury, because he plays a similar role. So, you know, a big tick to the recruitment department there, bringing him into the football club. And Matty Flynn fills a void of that standalone ruckman. I think we spoke about Bailey Williams early. He was cast into that ruckman role, but I think Bailey's a forward more than a ruckman. Did an outstanding job as a ruckman, and he's now added that string to his bow. He's a bona fide ruckman when he goes in there, which is terrific to have, but he'll really want to stand out as a forward this year, I think, and that's alongside Matty Flynn being a ruckman who, seeing his work last year with GWS, I think he can play as a forward. I think he can take a clunky
if we need
in
him.
the package, yeah.
And
you need to do that in AFL footy now. You look at the best ruckman in the competition, Max Gawn. He goes forward and can take a clunk. Can he kick for goal? Sometimes a little bit wayward, Max, but
at least he's having a shot, isn't he?
Outstanding leader, and he's an outstanding ruckman, and that's the prototype for ruckman in this day and age.
The other thing I hope that Matt can do, and also Bailey, if he gets the opportunities, is sit behind the ball a bit and assist across half back if need be. Just sit that kick behind the play and take those important catches as well, or at least form a bigger contest for the key forwards of the opposition.
Having a Bailey Williams and a Matt Flynn in the side will enable West Coast to do that. Being able to get up and down the ground a little bit more with a bit more legs. If you're playing one out as a ruckman, which we've seen sides do, I think Collingwood only play with one ruckman. In a Darcy Cameron, Mason Cox, no, they play with two.
But Mason Cox is really more of a forward, isn't he?
Yeah. And Darcy Cameron is playing that. And I keep talking about Collingwood, but that's what happens at this time of the year.
They're the benchmark. Yeah.
You look at the benchmark, of course. Brisbane Lions be right up there again. And talking about Melbourne and Max Gawn, they'll be up there again. So you're going to see those, and they're the sorts of teams that West Coast are aiming to be like. They have a lot of improvement to get through. They're the worst side in the competition last year, which is disappointing, but there is elements of excitement around that because the improvement is going to be very visual. You're going to be able to see it.
Clearly. And that's why we'll talk about it a bit later with fixtures coming up. Your early games is just so important that you stay. Jaden Hunt?
Jaden Hunt. I thought his year
with
last
Hoffy
year was outstanding. These two players are going to have a massive impact on the West Coast Eagles this year. Jaden Hunt recruited from Melbourne last year, a bit more of a senior head. I just thought he was outstanding. He played on the wing, played half back, and he ran all day, and he was consistent throughout the year. I think Brady Hoff plays a somewhat similar role, perhaps a little bit more defensive than a Jaden Hunt, but what really impressed me about Jaden Hunt last year, and I saw it in the pre-season, and people were saying, the reason he came from Melbourne is he's all attack, he can't defend. He can defend. What I was really impressed with was his defence last year, and then he added his run and his flair, and we know he can do that.
And the thing that Hoffy has to complement that is his skill set's probably just a little better, and his balance when he takes off. Hunty, sometimes when he takes off for a run, he's worked so hard to get it defensively, then the kick just, at times, not always, just lacks a little bit because he's tight. And then he's got to race back because it's turned over again. So he's had an impressive year.
So they're in their lines now. We're looking at the forward line here. Jai Cully picking a ball up. Back in the back line now with Barras and Jaden Hunt there. Ticked up there, TB, defend better than that, please. He's probably in token behaviour given that it's a game tomorrow.
The captain's run.
Yeah, that's right. It's an extended captain's run here though, because proper captain's run, you jog a couple of laps and get off the field. So we're seeing the forwards go in action down the other end as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the smaller types go for West Coast this year. We spoke about
where they all fit in.
Yeah, correct.
You know, you hope that a Jakey Waterman coming off that shocking illness he had, he's trained the house down. He's been absolutely outstanding for what he's done. And his role along with Cripper, they've been the key half forwards. Noah Long's chipped in a bit last year.
Yes, see Jack Petrocelli here. So my back line, saying I liked him back there, has obviously fallen on deaf ears, which is fine.
Matty Knight's there just standing. You can't see Matty because if his legs were a bit straighter, he'd be 6 foot. He'll be. I think he's a player that's still going to surprise people because they'll be worried about Darling, Allen, maybe Oscar Allen, maybe Matty Flynn or whoever's down there, or a Bailey, or a Cripper.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, Ryan Marrick, just a smooth mover, just very neat with all his skill set.
Yes.
And he's had half a season to find out what it is. Now a full pre-season.
Yes.
So he's going to be a key.
Yeah. Look, I agree with all of that. Roscoe, Alex Witherden at the back of frame there. Who's number 4?
One of the train-on boys. They're bringing a few lads in from Waffle. No. It's not Dommy Sheed. So Dom's changed. So what it is, there's an opportunity through Kyle Horsley coaching the Waffle team. And just quickly on that, it's an important little note to make is that for Waffle training, outside of the boys who will play from the AFL squad, Horse has had about 20 to 22 odd players coming down.
Yes.
So that's really helpful. There's a number of players that when they're complemented by the 10 or 15 that come out of the senior squad. What does Simo say? There's 34 training today, 36.
Yep.
So there'll be 10 or 12 hopefully available.
Well, that was a bit of a fallout last year of the injuries. Was the Waffle reserve side was. It was difficult.
Constantly topping up.
And there was a couple.
No, I didn't want to bring it up, but do we have any vision?
There was a couple. I hope not, because there'd have to be some severe behind the goals with the amount of lack of running that I was doing to come in and play a couple of games last year. But hearing that, getting the numbers on the track, 20 to 22 outside players, they should get. The plan would be to get 10 to 12 to 14 West Coast players in a best case scenario. If you don't have those injuries. To have that sort of numbers, then they start to be competitive at Waffle level. And I'm a firm believer, no matter what the setup is, as Luke Shuey goes for a drink, you'll probably see him stay there for the next 15 minutes.
He's probably going to rub.
Hearing his fitness has not improved coming out of the AFL system. I know, he's going back out there. He's wearing a jumper.
He said, Simo, you grab the jumpers, I'll just get another drink.
I'm a firm believer with the Waffle reserves, just finishing up on that.
Yes.
No matter how it's set up, whether it's West Coast reserves, whether it's an AFL reserve side that's somehow being floated this year, especially by Port Adelaide, whether it's all of the players across the Waffle, which I spent time at Peel Thunder in my time, you need to be in sides that compete. And that comes back to the AFL side. If you're going back into the Waffle and you're non-competitive and you're not in games and you're not a chance to win, that flows into the senior side. You need to be competing and winning and playing against
game
players.
style.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, okay, very good. Jermaine Jones wearing the 31 with absolute ease here. I wonder if that's my jumper. I don't think so. It fits
No, he's a slightly different cut. The cut of his jib is slightly different to yours.
I liked his year last year a lot.
I thought he had a terrific year.
Yeah, and we'd like to see
X
him
factor.
More consistent. If we head back down to the boundary, Jason the Milkman Gilby has co-captain Oscar Allen with him.
And we're down here with Oz, the new skipper. You and Duggo, Oz, how's it been, the transition into, I suppose, captaincy? How's that all happened out?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. Good balance with Duggo. Probably did a little bit of it towards the end of last year with Shu and a couple of the other senior players missing a little bit with injury. So it's actually not too big of a step up. It's a bit of a natural progression. It's been good. Boys are out here training well. Got a big training session tomorrow night. So spirits are high. It's all going well.
Absolutely. We were saying to Simo that I suppose the Heat boys are on this little Thursday night session. Keen for that?
Yeah, keen for tomorrow night. I think one of our pre-season games might be against Freehold Port Adelaide at night time as well, so it would just be a good chance for some of the younger players as well who probably haven't played under the lights before.
Yep.
Get a little bit of experience with it. Yeah, the coaches have looked after us with the Heat. Escaped a little bit.
And what's the white longies? There's a few boys that are in them at the moment. What's to go with them?
Yeah, there's a bit of noise about it. Jakey Waterman's actually hooked a couple of the boys up, so he's the plug. So if you're looking for one of these, I'm not sure what they're called.
Yeah.
Hit Jakey Waterman up. He'll sort you out. So just a bit of sun protection, mate. Can never be too safe, particularly with the hot summer at the moment. But yeah, it's a lot of the forwards, which is probably saying something as well.
Absolutely. Anyway, boys, down here with Oscar. Bit starstruck I am, so I'll throw it back to you.
Like, he's doing some great work down there, Gilbs.
If you want one of those, Scully, see Jakey Waterman.
Look, so I wonder if 100% of profits will stay with Jake Waterman on those. Look, I'm loving Gilbs' work down there. If you can hear us, Gilbs, terrific stuff down there. Look,
Do you think Matty Richardson's in trouble on the telecast this year if he can come up?
Well, to be honest, mate, I could be. That's my job. Fox Footy.
Geez, you cut me off there. You gave me
They don't
if
find me.
only people could have seen the look in your face. Yeah.
Well, I think I could be in trouble. Gilbs doing very good stuff down there.
Coley's
Tom
had a
Cole.
good pre-season.
I wanted to speak about
Pre-season.
Coley. Good
Yes.
big country boy, premiership player. Been
Married.
absolutely struck down, and a new child as well over the off-season. He has been hindered by injury, and we haven't seen the best of Tom Cole for a couple of years now. And really looking excited, really forward to seeing how it goes about his work as a new father this year. Ruben Jimby, I don't know how we haven't had this man on screen. This is my number one.
He probably thinking the same thing.
Number
Rubes.
one excitement levels for me.
Yep.
Playing in the back line here with Tom Barras just sitting in front of him for 2024. I know he's had a little bit of cooling off in January with some groin issues, but out here fully now. Ideally, he's on top of those, and I just think he can go to a new level this year, especially if we see him in the back line. I know he played a lot of his school footy and junior footy as a backman, and he was cast into that inside role last year as someone that needed to play that role. As we see Liam Ryan on screen with a little bit of action for the cameras, great to see him running roster.
Yeah, and with Chance Bateman, Hawthorn champ, that's our...
This is his first run since his injury. So I can tell you now, regardless of what injuries he's coming back from, this is one of the hardest runs you'll ever do in your life. He hasn't run for maybe 3 to 4 weeks, whatever it's been. This one's a difficult one. But
not a big fan of running, Liam?
No,
He
is in a game.
Yes.
Liam Ryan, one of the great proponents of training. You feel like he's not fit, and then get in a game, and he'd be one of the fittest out there. So
I said that with respect.
he would agree with you. Don't worry about that. Liam Ryan, great to see him out there. He'll be absolutely pumped to go.
Because it looked early as if it might have been a repeat, but to have the op, which
they haven't done. Obviously, they haven't done. You're not running this far, this close to an injury like that. So he's continued on, and if he's doing a walk jog now today, there'll be a build-up period of 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm completely going off cuff here, but I think that's what it'll look like, and they'll try to get him into some lower training drills,
bit of full ground stuff here
to match sim, and get him playing some games as we see a bit of circle work here. So this is not a lot of defence. This is captain's run. You want to feel good here.
Is this clockwise or anti-clockwise?
This is, I don't know. It's just around and around. I used to stand at the back and do nothing here, Roscoe.
Just direct traffic.
You won't see any defending here. This is a ball movement. Feel good about yourself, especially the midfielders. This is a midfield and a forward line drill. Midfielders run around squealing their guts out, begging for the ball, so you get some touches like they do on game day, and the forwards want it on a platter. That's how it works. The backmen get about 3 kicks for the entire day. You go chip, and then you kick it long, and then you pretend to come up the ground.
And you're what the mids and forwards would say to you, and they say it all the time. Would you rather it down your way a lot, or would you rather it in front of you and us having a shot at goal?
And the answer back to that is, well, it would be nice on game day if it wasn't down here so much. If game day looked like this drill, we'd all be happy. Get it out of the back line, midfielders all get a touch, on a platter.
Kick as many goals as you like.
do we like, fellas? Make sure if you'd like to save big on KO this season, you can catch all the 2024 AFL action on demand with the Eagles' new membership. It'll give you a 12-month subscription from just $275, which is a massive saving, Roscoe. If you already have
Get on board.
a member, if you're a member with the football club, you can pick it up for just $250. Got to get amongst this KO deal, Roscoe. Do you know how to access KO? Would you like
Yes,
me to
I
teach
do.
you?
My daughter set it up for me.
Yes.
How does that sound?
I don't.
That's why
I'm
you
not
asked me.
surprised. So that's the Eagles on-demand membership. You can get that for 12 months for $275, or a little bit of a discount if you're already a member. As the boys go through their paces here, Tyler Dewa, he's a little bit of a prospect, I think. He's looking quite nice running around out there.
Just needs a little bit more size, but it takes a while with the shape that he is. But
Jeremy
he's got
McGovern, big bull. He's heading straight.
He's
to the
waiting for the
ice
siren. He's going, the whistle, can I get off? He's walking as close as he can. Young Zane True, so just being a bit precautionary with him. He's had a bit of groin soreness. So he's come back.
Pretty good size there.
Yeah, I think he realises that having been retained, which was fine, that this is another one. And Jakey, anyone can ring Jake. I don't have his number. If you want one of the long
Would
sleeve
you like me to
whites,
put it out here on the live stream?
I've got a
Sure,
couple
I'd be
of.
happy with that.
I've got a couple there. And even just again the size and shape of Campbell Chesser, good to see.
Jake Waterman very concerned with the hair there. Spending a lot of time.
It's funny. He's probably channeling you, or maybe even me from the 80s.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or the 70s.
Me from the 80s would be nice. I was born in '89. I was around.
You were just stuck in.
Oscar Allen spending some time with the fans here. This is something that. Look, it's certainly not, you don't want to say it's unrewarded for players, but it's something that doesn't really get picked up unless you're at training. Oscar Allen is very big on this. He'll get around and train, sign as many signatures as possible. So if you do get an opportunity to come down here and watch training, I would take the opportunity, especially if you want some signatures or say hello to some of your favourite players, because I know the boys will be going, they should be, and I don't know this firsthand, but they should be going above and beyond this year, given the seasons of the last couple of years. I think the fans... There needs to be reciprocated. The respect and support the fans gave over the last couple of years, I think the players will be looking to give back as much as possible this year.
It's a good comment, Scully, and I think both Oscar and Liam Duggan as co-captains will drive that.
Yep.
And I think also the group of younger boys coming through, as you just want to make a comment here,
Yeah, keep going.
that they'll want to do that, and they'll want to get amongst the fans.
Midfield group here with Luke Shuey going through some hit-outs. You got Matty Flynn leading, Elliot Yeo, Jai Cully, Tim Kelly, Ruben Jimby. Is that our starting midfield for 2024? It'd be interesting.
That's a lot having
to
the
see.
mid. There's a lot inside.
Yeah,
but it's a good setup.
Jamie Cripps here. Haven't seen a lot of vision from him. You won't see much of the older fellas on a session like this. They know how to play it smart. We saw Jeremy McGovern getting off the field as quick as possible. Jamie Cripps.
What a career has he had?
Been one of the most consistent Eagles we've seen.
One of the most lovable blokes.
Yep, he's first picked.
Club man.
He's first picked most weeks. Plays an incredibly important role, and he'll be looking to, as he gets older, teaching some of these younger fellas how to play that role that he plays, because it's a really important role that he plays. Now, Roscoe. This one, listen up. Don't forget to check out the fresh 2024 New Balance range in time for the beginning of the season. Have you been in here, Ross? You're wearing it right now.
No. I walk past it every day when I come in 3 times a week.
So if you can't get into Mineral Resources Park, which the Superstore is in here, right at reception there, you can visit wcesuperstore.com.au. All the latest Eagles gear available all year round. Shop with us, and 100% of the profits stay with your club. The West Coast Eagles will retain most of the money, which is great to hear. Now, Jai Cully, Bailey Williams, Tim Kelly, Ruben Jimby, Matt Flynn.
And Bootsy, Luke Shuey just off screen to the right, just explaining what happens when the ball bounces ordinarily. So just small little things he's teaching some of these guys to be aware of.
Enormous for the footy club to have someone of Luke Shuey's calibre teaching that midfield group. It was as a stoppage player, one of the best to ever do it. People get carried away a little bit with some injuries he had in the back part of his career, but saw what he did in the 2018 grand final, but his career was marked by outstanding stoppage play, and he's an incredibly smart player.
The thing with that too, Scully, is that there are a number of players in any sport who are at that level and understand the game when they're playing. Are they able to then translate that to coach it? Because not all the good players in any sport, the elite players in any sport, can say, why did you run there? Why did you do this? What was your training? To actually explain why isn't always easy. So that transition...
And a how. And,
and how? And so how do I get there?
Yeah.
Why did you go there and how did you get there? It's serious. So
that's what the great coaches do.
Exactly.
I've spoken at length about Sam Mitchell's influence on the group. He was a how and why guy. It was like, this is why you do it and this is how you do it.
Craig McRae at Collingwood.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen it.
16, 17 years as an assistant and just comes in and...
Well, Adam Simpson, you can look at Adam Simpson coming to the football club 2014, we missed finals and then go grand final 2015, final, premiership in 2018, and that was off the back of his ability to teach us as players, the how and why. Like that is notably what I think about is what he was able to do with that group. And so getting players like a Luke Shuey, as we see Liam Ryan,
he's going, how many more chants? Chango, how many more are we doing?
It honestly makes me so happy saying this though, because I know it was difficult mentally for Liam last year. He is someone, he's probably in the top 3 players at this football club that needs to be playing footy. He needs that Saturday, he needs that hanger on someone's head, someone's bald head like a Schofield, just sit on top of them. Take a little bit of time up there in the stratosphere. He needs to kick a goal. He loves that game day environment. So to not have that last year for a large majority, he's really looking forward to this year, and I hope he gets back quickly. So it's great to see him coming back. Noah Long, we've spoken a little bit about him today. He's in for a big year in his second year.
Trained very well and has all the attributes, and what he lacks for in height, his ability to read the game and crumb the ball, be in the right spot, and defensively, he has a bit of cripper in him and could very well develop that style of play.
Yes.
I'm not saying he's the ideal cripper,
yes,
but he certainly has the traits to grow into that.
He's in the 13, isn't he, the Luke Shuey? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that as well. Jermaine Jones, spending some time forward, or is he just having a bit of sniff for goals, like some good back?
He likes to just let them know that he can go forward. Why don't you do that? It's the right thing to do.
This is interesting here. Bailey Williams taps it down. Ruben Jimby in the middle.
Yep.
I think we will see him.
Ryan Marrick.
Let's see his celebration. What have we got from him?
No.
I reckon that went through. He was pretty happy with that.
Billy, yes.
That's Tyler Brockman there, of course, as he gives to the crowd.
Yeah, but his, see when again his size, but just his balance.
Yes.
And kicks both sides so very well. So it's I just can't wait to see him play.
Well, talking about waiting to see things, I can't wait to hear this. The Milkman is down on ground with Noah Long. Let's get down to the boys.
Boys, the last one for the day. We've got Noah Donkey Long down here. How are you, Noah?
Going well, mate, going well. It was a pretty light session, so it was nice.
Absolutely. We've seen not much from the boys today, leading into a bit more match team tomorrow night.
Yeah, it was a pretty low-key session. We just took legs over a little bit. A bit more of a feel-good session going into tomorrow.
Yep. And what about you? How you been feeling the last few weeks? Been a big few sessions. How's it all coming along?
It's been hot, mate, as you would know. It's been pretty hot outside, so they've been tough, but I think they're just going to hold the boys in great stead going forward. So they've been great, but they've been hard.
Absolutely. Is there anyone sort of tearing the house down at training? I've been going right out there, but anyone else?
I was going to say you. You find yourself getting a few touches on the wing, don't you?
On the wing.
Yeah. But no, Jakey Waterman's going pretty well, running really well. So, there's a lot of good boys tearing it up at the moment.
Yep. And I suppose the outside of footy at the moment, bit of golf at the moment, road to single figures I've heard. How's that coming along?
It's coming along, not there yet, as you know, it's a bit of a work in progress. Got a round in yesterday and Petch took it out. He's finally coming to some form, but let's see if we can beat him next time.
There we go, boys. The future of the club, Noah Long, with the 13 on his back now, a bit lighter to be able to run around with, eh?
Oh, definitely, yep.
Thanks, boys. That's all from us.
There we go. Jason Gilby wrapping things up down there on the boundary. I wonder how Jace hits them. Do you reckon Roosters and Nurry down the middle?
I think he'd have a strong opinion on how he can play, whether that's play well or not so well.
You a good golfer?
Me?
Yes.
No, my clubs, I don't have any.
Right.
No. In fact, my problem with golf are the clubs.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Not having them.
Not good.
Tough to play without clubs.
It's 4 hours I can spend doing something else more effectively.
Okay. I wonder if Thumper's up on the light stand here actually getting some of
this
the footage
vision,
here.
yeah. Is he nervous of heights?
Well, he's holding
He's
the
nervous
camera
of
pretty
other things.
steadily as we cut down to Liam Ryan again. I think he's looking pretty good.
No,
He's looking pretty good. Hey, Roscoe, I wanted to just finish
Fixtures.
off with what's coming up this season. A little look at least the first part of our AFL fixture. Port Adelaide is our first game, Adelaide Oval. That'll be difficult. They're a good side. Coming off a pretty good year last year and playing them on their home deck, but it's been a team that West Coast have liked playing in Adelaide.
Yes, they are. I agree. There's been some after the siren wins,
Yes.
and it's a good ground to play on. The key, I think, Scully, with our first, if you like, you go to our first 8 games,
Yes.
where we play, if you like, 4 at home,
Yep.
and then we have the Swans. We don't have to play them in Sydney. We play them at Mount Barker, so that's a help.
That's
I
a
think.
win.
But Giants.
Didn't go overly well at the SCG
Giants
last
round 2, I know, round 5 Tigers, round 6 we back to back, then round 5 and 6 the Derby.
Would I be wrong to say that we played GWS last year, round 2, and we beat them?
Yeah.
And they almost make a grand final last year, so that'll be a bit of a grudge match. Let's
Yeah.
hope so.
So the early, I suppose in a nutshell,
Big derby. Round 6
big
derby.
derby, because Freo are under the pump a bit as well.
Yep.
So that first clutch of 6 to 8 games will demonstrate where we're heading, in my view.
Yeah,
I don't
I
want to, if
agree.
we go too deep,
No,
other than, and then the celebration of the 94 grand final. There's a function on June 7 before the
Melbourne
North
game in
Melbourne
round
game
14.
on the Friday night.
Okay, very good. You be emceeing that, will you be, Ross?
No, I won't. No, they'll be getting some decent talent.
Okay.
Or someone who actually is talent. And then the last game we played Geelong, which is amazing how we always get that fixture.
That is one of the
Geelong
worst
at
games
Geelong.
you'll ever play. We do hope you've enjoyed joining us here for the live stream training event at Mineral Resources Park, Ross Glendinning.
Been a pleasure.
You've been outstanding.
If
I
I asked
can
you to say that.
Yes. a
Yeah,
bit of
you've been even better.
Reciprocate. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. It's been great to see how the boys are going. We'll be watching with care and bated breath, dare I say. See how the boys go tomorrow night in their first real hit out as a footy club. And of course, moving towards the Port Adelaide game in round 1. Thanks for joining us. I hope to see you down here at Mineral Resources Park in 2024, and the support for the boys continues. Thanks very much.